G'day everyone at AnimChallenge and welcome. Pleased to meet you all in this wonderful community. My name is Eddie Chu and I'm critiquing this month's AnimChallenge winner. This month had a lot of amazing entries, which goes to show the amount of talent in animation right now. Big congrats to Amelie Loyer for winning this month's challenge with the theme chosen as Vanishing. Just to give you all some information about me before we start, I recently finished animation on the genie for Aladdin at Industrial Light and Magic. I was at Sony on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse as a senior animator, and I was the lead animator on Pacific Rim 2 before that. I just created a school, Griffin Animation Academy, and I teach 2 courses. The first one I named The Best Shot You've Ever Worked On, which you learn about creating exciting CG action shots for your demo reel. And my second course, Photorealistic Creatures in Movies, teaching you creature animation, retract my scene environments, and match move cameras to use for high quality training. You can find out more information on me and these courses at griffinanimationacademy.com, our Facebook group, or reach out on LinkedIn just to say hi. Now, please enjoy this video. Hi guys, welcome to this video, and congratulations to Emily for winning this month's challenge on Vanishing. And as you can see here, her animation is really cool, has really great body mechanics, good solid fundamentals of animation in there. Everything feels really nice. And in saying that, we're just gonna go into super refinement and super polishing, detailed, just finish, just to get that extra layer of complexity and granular detail, just to finish it off. So the first thing I'm going to look at is his center of gravity and the hips throughout the shot. So I'll just do a pass on that. At the start they're pretty locked. I found your work in progress video on YouTube, and as you can see here, the center of gravity she kind of moves screen left over time, because in her head she knows her routine and she's gonna have to put weight on this left leg. So she's slowly shifted here before putting weight on it. So we are going to just have a bit of at least drift or some kind of movement in the cog, just to blend into frame 15 is when it begins. So right now what I think you can do is you can start off a bit lower. Just say her belt is the center of gravity, so we can start her off slightly lower, just give her somewhere to move up into, maybe let's get closer. And then she can kind of come back down. And you can just get whatever blend you need to into what you have, which goes screen left, down, I like to just check the center of gravity and make sure that is solid before like trying to correct everything else, because that's your essentially that's where your balance and your core strength and for bipeds. That's where it all comes from. Like here, this pose is a beautiful pose. You can see it's very balanced, and we can see that she's very centered. Like, she sits right in between, so that's very nice. So as you start lower here and go up, you can overlap the chest. So as your hips go up, your chest, you can kind of have an overlap and translate Y a little bit, rotate down, and the head as well. And even in the shoulders, if you wanted, the shoulders can kind of lead the arms, so they'd pull the arms. Well, let's start with the chest and head, and then on the way down, chest can rotate up as the hips come down, and a slight. So just get that nice breakup of everything. I found a good example here. It's another animated example from Zootopia, but you can see how the hips, and this guy comes up. It's coming up. So the hips come up first. Then the shoulders come up afterwards. Then you can feel the chest coming up, rotating up. And then the head is still moving up, so rotating up, the nose. And it's all like overlapping action. Then everything coming down works together. So the shoulders come down. That's an arrow. As the chest comes down, which flops into the hips, is still kind of sitting up. And everything's kind of flopping, overlapping down into it. And the head, the nose, comes down afterwards, rotates down as the hips bounce back up. So it's an exaggerated animation, but it gets the point across. So again, and it comes up and then comes back down, the hips, that is. So that's how it settles. It doesn't really sit still for too long. And it feels, overlapping makes it feel quite weighty, adds weight. So you can add a subtle version of that into yours. Actually, we can also break up the pose just of a foot, instead of having, since she's on almost a 3/4, you can kind of point the foot out a bit just to make it more interesting. So rotate that out just a little bit. Foot coming out feels nice. just on this one frame, you can maybe rotate it out a bit, just for that in between, which goes into what you have. You can probably squish this foot earlier, maybe even by this frame it'd be quite flat. Just like in your reference here, if you have a look at a foot going backwards, over like once the toe touches the contact, 1, 2, and it's quite planted, quite squished, so that adds weight to that foot plant, which we want to do to yours. Right now it slowly rolls down, but we want it to just hit there and then flatten. And I'm just looking at let's add some weight to the sword, so some overlap, because it's a pretty big sword, so we want to see if we can add a bit more weight into it again by overlapping. So if one of the blades there, we can draw a line through it, so that's what it is. So you can have a bit of drag on the point, so you could even keep, if the handle goes up, you can kind of keep the point where it is. Which goes into what you have now. Maybe the point will still be up here. And then into what you have. Then we can add maybe the sword here hits a sort of just stops, so we can, this frame, it can kind of come down here, maybe even down here, and then if you want to go back up, yeah, so it looks something like down, just again so it doesn't like just stops moving. There's always a bit of momentum that carries through, and that adds weight, and that adds realism and makes it more believable. And then you have some nice arcs here. Whoop. What if you can add some just overlap, just slight breakup of the chest and the head. It's going down. Maybe just rotate it this way a little just to break it up. Blend into what you have. So this is all nice, and then what you want to do is again break up the chest so you can, as the hips kind of starts moving this way, you can just lag it, the chest rotation. So it feels nice. Oh yeah, I had some notes on the, had some thoughts actually on this arm pose. So right now, her wrist is kind of broken here because it kind of rotates up, and her elbow is here. So this pose is unnatural, and the handle is almost going through it's not a very solid, strong grip on the sword. What you want to do is have, because if the shoulder is like this and then the elbow is up here, and then the wrist kind of bends this way, it's not natural either. So you want something, essentially you want her thumb down here. Kind of want more of this pose, and then the sword. Okay, let me clean up this redrawing. Get a good hand here, but okay. The thumb, and then the fingers on the top. And that feels more natural than the rest of your shoulder and your elbow can say the same, but the references, it's kind of like this. I guess you want to keep what you have with the hand facing the top and towards us, so it'd be more like this, but without having to rotate the wrists and the forearm too much. Like if the bones were coming through, it would feel nicer. Forearm, it would just feel more natural in terms of anatomy and what we can do. So the thumb stays down, and it's a very strong grip. It's a nicer pose. So obviously we won't see the fingers, but because we slightly twist it around more on yours, but that just feels like a nicer line, nicer pose. So right now you can see, if we compare it, it doesn't look as strong or natural. It's all like twisted. And you can lead into it by having a stronger pose on the arm. So bend it more rather than the wrist. Right now the wrist, again, it makes it feel light and broken. So what you want to do is have a strong wrist and bend at the elbow. Yeah, on the in-between you can have a bit of wrist rotation, which feels nice. But even here, maybe you can if you wanted to right the elbow and then the arm. And that would, so you don't have to bend that wrist here, bend it at the elbow. That's why I have elbows, I guess. And this would feel like a nice in-between. You can still get your nice arcs that you have. I love this pose with the hair. The overlap in the hair makes it feel nice and wavy. Just watch the wrist here as well, this one. Like this pose is nice, you can kind of keep the palm almost facing camera. Just keep what you have without bending it too much. But that's nice for the in-between. Bring out the thumb. It's very nice as silhouette. And then watch the penetration here. As the hips twist here, twisting around, you can have a slight overlap on the chest, just by a frame or two, just so they don't feel like they're moving at the same time. Just slightly, one frame. Nice arc on the hand here. Just be careful here. The hand does feel kind of floppy and flat. So this pose is good. You can almost have just some kind of, even like one or two fingers or the thumb kind of sticking out, just to prevent that floppiness. Right now it's like just like paper. whereas raw, muscle, bone. This sword pose, alright, right here gets lost a bit, so let me just track these arcs quickly. These nice arcs. Alright. Yeah, maybe let's see. Bring the sword out. Something like here. It just gets lost, the silhouette gets lost. You want something a bit more clear. So something like, right now this is what it's kind of doing. If we could even just bring it out here, just for that. Just that slightly bigger arc. Part's all nice, it's good. I think this sword pose, where is it? For tracking this, it gets lost behind the foot, and the brain will register that in real time, so we can, I'd say, bring it out here. The swords like that. And that'll feel nicer. Oh, this is beautiful. That's so cool. Yeah, it's you've done pretty well with getting this big sword to be doing this kind of movement. And not, not getting it to look like she's clumsy or she's struggling. Like, it feels really nice and fluid. Let's open up this sword pose. You can get her arm out. Again, my dodgy drawings. Let's see. then if you track at this point, it kind of right here, they feel like it gets stuck and then continues. What you could do is add a bit of lag, so maybe this pose you can bring out so you can space this out. So bring this pose out here. That'll feel nicer, and that'll feel like it keeps moving rather than stopping. Want to check your cog here. Center of gravity kind of comes down and then back up. Let's see if your reference does that. Everything is always frame by frame. So I'm checking the reference. Yeah, she does good. I guess on the switch, she kind of shifts leg. She doesn't really. There's a bit of weight on it. And then goes up. Yeah, I think you've got the right idea. You probably need a bit of overlap. Again on the sword. Keep moving down slightly. And then here, because it's a big move on her wrist, you see. Use the glove. You kind of want the sword tip to be kind of lagging behind. Again, to show weight. And then when you throw it, you can add a bit of rotation. Yeah, you kind of want the sword just for appeal as well to flip. So drag here, overlap. She would flip the handle first, but it will begin flipping up this way to rotate. Or maybe that's out of frame, and then it can kind of flipping up. So in the air, it would be rotating and flipping, you'd think. So because right now the handle ends up over here instead. So you would picture the sword flipping anti-clockwise, kind of flipping around, and the handle now is on this side, which, if that makes sense, which blends into what you have. To make the sword feel heavier, rather than just throwing the sword and her shoulders stop here, I feel like it would be heavy, pretty heavy, so she would have to, rather than the cog moving here, she can kind of move up a bit. Let me get closer. So her core would push up and then kind of start coming down, which, let's see, which settles into your stance, because right now your stance also locks right here. You can add a bit of weight drift, bit of settle. I'm just showing the spacing by the way. She wouldn't move this far screen right, but just trying to show some spacing for settling. Which can be seen, here's a exaggerated example. See here, she moves up. It feels like a nice weighted, kind of holds at top, nice weighted settle. It's exaggerated, but again, gets the message across. Ghosting doesn't like the flip. So we can add that into yours, just to settle at the end. Because right now she just locks her center of gravity, her hips just stay still here. So when she uses a core to push up and throw, what you have here is good. You've rotated the chest up, but her arms and shoulders can move up a bit too, just to again help sell that weight. And also show that it was a very heavy sword, so it would take more than just her arm to throw it up. Some shoulder movement and set on what you have is nice. Get some chest here, just moving up. Just wondering where her eye line is right now. If it's more like a trick, she wouldn't be looking up. I guess she would be looking at camera. So you could have more looking at us. Because right now, she just stares off this way. So that eye line makes no sense. It's kind of just an empty stare. And keep her arm in her silhouette. Right now it just disappears. You can save the vanishing for later. So I have a bit of an arm showing there when she's standing. And this is nice. And I think that's it really. It's just again, just super polish, adding a lot of overlap, checking your arcs, watching the drift, or the no drift, get some drift into the hips at the beginning and the end, adjusting a few poses, and I think it's going to look amazing. It really does, but this will just add complexity to it. Yeah, great job, Emily. Well done.